Libra discounts, Libra of Hope, right?
Yes, very much so. The Librams, I mean, part of what makes Paladin so appealing is the fact that it has some of the most powerful early game starts and curve in Hearthstone still. You can't really keep up with the efficiency if things line up correctly. You know, it kind of goes back to the days of mid-range Paladin, Secret Paladin, right? Like back when they were really dominant, part of it was that they just have a really overwhelming curve. They miss it and they're playing from behind. Different story altogether. But I do wonder how it's going to fare up against Weapon Rogue, which is quite fearsome when it gets rolling.
I cannot wait to
Fled with no early weapon in his opening hand here. Nalguidan starting off with the Alder Attendant on one. All right.
Incredible.
I have Spicy to start things off here.
Just looking for weapon pretty much from Flood's perspective. No secret passage as well to try and help him find it. Could be in for a rough time if he's not able to. And Nalguidan's got just about as good of a start as you could hope in this matchup.
Yeah, 1-drop and a 2-drop, and the ability to follow along that curve with the underlight angling rod. Although could also just end up going for the first day of school and a couple of 1-drops here. Flame Imp. Festus Sporling. These are all interesting minions.
Yeah, Flame Imp, do you really want to be doing the rogue's job for them? It is kind of a big minion.
Yeah. Also a lot of stats though, right?
Yeah. It is. And putting the pressure on is necessary for against Weapon Rogue so that they don't have all of the time in the world to do whatever they want, all the time in the world to find the weapons. This is just tough. Fled's got to stop the bleeding somehow using a paralytic poison here to try and choose it through some of these minions. And even throwing in prep Silverleaf poison, I agree with this just because the most important thing is finding that Swine Tusk Shank or Secret Passage to find the Swine Tusk Shank, so. Alright, there's Secret Passage, so that's something.
And from Nalguidan's perspective, how best to dig in here. Mystery Winner, perhaps finding something good. Then, depending on how it looks, can go for the Angling Rod and start churning out that damage. Pressuring the Weapon Rogue is going to be really key. As we talked about, that's the way you stop these, you know, face decks that try to overwhelm you. It's really difficult to play a slow pace against them because they will rack up damage over time.
Ooh, Murloc.
Okay.
Cool. Puts Murloc in the deck.
Yeah, I like that. So I think my read on this, by the way, is that Nalguidan wants to save Mystery Winner for like a way to win the game in the late stages. If like it can get a really powerful thing to stop Fled's aggression in the late stages of how this matchup develops.
Yeah. That makes sense. Try and
finds Noble Sacrifice, for example.
Noble Sacrifice, Galloping Savior, Oh My God, all have room for it to disrupt Weapon Rogue, right? Putting a taunt in the way after they've played all of their burn spells, blocking the weapon attack, like you said, with Noble Sacrifice, Oh My Yogg, getting rid of a Sinister Striker, a Wicked Stab, or a Poison, something along those lines. Blood does need to make sure he's not going to die first. That's step one. Double Cloak of Shadows will go a long way. Already has one in the hand and plenty of card draw. Oh, already found it. Okay, cool. Deadly Poison, Silverleaf Poison, all great. Problem is, no Coerce picked up. No way to remove this Aldor Truthseeker. Looks like he's going to have to Secret Passage try and find Coerce. Okay, there it is.
It's interesting because Paralytic Poison kind of does something similar, but Yeah, this is just way better, and you can push that damage to face. That face damage is hard to compare to. And he gets back his hand with a double Cloak of Shadows. Nalguidan back on the drawing board. Was the Libram corrupted?
No.
Okay.
It's corrupted when it's purple. The only way to be corrupted in his hand would be to play Lady Liadrin. He could just use it now to pressure, or could Hand of a Doll, see what he picks up, and then play it to pressure.
It is a lot of damage, right? It is 3 on board, 5 with the Hand of Justice, 10 with the Libram.
He would set up lethal from through Cloak of Shadows no matter what. Like, Flood would have to have Cloak of Shadows until Nalguidan died if he did that play. So, I do like it. But bruh, pretty useless.
Yeah, the problem
only
with
caveat is that he's not getting the healing from it, and he doesn't have Libram of Hope in hand. So...
yeah, it's a problem because Cariel and all these other minions on the board, they might not just get the opportunity to attack, right? Because their opponent's going to go into stealth mode. So I like this from Nalguidan. Maximum amount of pressure. Put his opponent down to 4. And Fled. I mean, with all these poisons going on and the Cloak of Shadows, it really comes down to whether or not Nalguidan has a taunt in the way, I think. And even then, there's ways for Flood to deal with it because he has the Prize Plunderer. And the Wicked Stabs.
Yep. This is where that Mystery Winter comes in. Ooh, Mystery Winter and Aldor Trueseeker.
All right.
Ooh, bet there's something great inside.
Because there's 1 Cloak of Shadows left.
Oh! Oh, sacrifice. Exactly what Nalguidan was trying to play for. It's why he saved it for this long.
Yep.
Vlad known for having also very expressive reactions based off what ends up happening in the game. It's quite entertaining, but it's also quite heartbreaking if you're cheering for him and you're on the wrong end of the stick like this. Good news. Still a lot of things that he could be trying to play for here.
Yeah, but this is his last turn. He has to kill over 2 turns. There's no way around it.
I wonder.
Even if he manages to somehow remove the entire board, he still has to kill over 2 turns because this is his last Cloak of Shadows. And this turn he only has 4 mana to work with. Because he needs that mana for the Cloak. And he doesn't even have a way to draw. He could Wand Maker. You know, maybe hit like Secret Passage, but then he'd have to attack, Cloak, and then Secret Passage and only be looking for something for 1 mana. Just doesn't seem reasonable. Yeah, he's dead if he Secret Passages without playing Cloak.
Choose soon.
Tax sees the Noble Sacrifice. Oh, it's a bad spot to be in. Cloak of Shadows. Last turn of stealth, and Nalguidan just has to fade this final turn of aggression.
I don't know if there's a way for Fled to deal 15 points of damage through a 6 health taunt without like double Wicked Stab being rank 3, because they're only going to deal 4.
What's the attack of the weapons at 7?
That's 7.
So 7 plus the 2 Wicked Stabs to face is lethal. So if he draws Coerce next turn. Oh, he could Wicked Stab, doesn't have Coerce, get a Secret Passage for it, go face for 15. Am I reading that correctly?
Yep.
That's and you draw 1 card naturally, and then you get 4 peaks. That's a 50% chance that Fled has it. So the odds are still pretty close, TJ.
Yeah, I know. It's no Libra of Hope for Nalguidan did kind of mean that he doesn't really have a way to get through it, because these Libra of Wisdom stacked on top don't mean anything when it comes to Coerce. But that's not it, and then he has 9 cards left. He'll see 4 of them, so slightly less than a 50% chance to win. Is there any combination of like double Sinister Strike that he could get? I don't think so. Nope. Just has to hope for it. Secret Passage. He's got to hit Coerce.
4 cards.
Not it.
Secret Passage. Wait, Secret Passage
Not
can
it.
find prep into it?
Does he? Has he played?
Yeah.
Oh, prep Secret Passage?
Into it. TJ, that's such
Now
a high
this is-
chance.
This is almost 100%. It has to be his very last card because you don't get shown the other cards.
Almost out of cards.
Oh!
There it is.
Lands
Exact
it.
lethal, exact mana usage. Oh my gosh, it feels so good.
And victory doesn't get much sweeter than that. Fled drawing down to his 30th card. And that is going to be it for game number 1. Weapon Rogue is quite a volatile deck because of games like that, moments where you have to dig deep and play your outs. Really well done by Fled. And, you know, we weren't really thinking about how the Secret Passage could find the second Secret Passage and the prep. That was a scenario. So his chances to win from that turn on was actually a lot higher than 50% that we weren't really calculating. Because even if he didn't find that prep, he could have prepped Secret Passage, and then prep could have been the next batch of cards alongside the Coerce. Yep. So well done there from Fled to really give himself a favorable position, and also a little bit tough for Nalguidan to not get that healing. You can see how small, subtle things like not getting the Corrupt and the Lifesteal onto his Libram of Judgment made a big difference.
Yeah. And, you know, you could say it's unlucky, but Paladin doesn't draw cards very well. So he had been through not quite half his deck and didn't see a Libra of Hope. Yeah, he killed him with 17 cards left in his deck. So it's not unheard of to get to, you know, 17 cards left in your deck and not hit a 2 of in your deck, right? So it's not like he drew super heavily and then still wasn't able to get Libra of Hope. So Fled, you know, exact lethal, managing to navigate that early game super well, despite a pretty awkward draw, right? He had Cloak of Shadows opening hand, Cunning Class opening hand without a weapon, didn't draw the weapon until round 5. So I like how he managed his resources in the meantime because it did matter. But now he's going to go up against, you know, normally Weapon Rogue versus Priest is pretty Weapon Rogue favored, but Nalguidan does have a Priest deck that does seem like it has Weapon Rogue in mind. Obviously, it has an Acidic Swamp Ooze, which can just end the game on the spot, right? Usually, you need the max amount of damage with all your poisons from your weapons to overcome Priest Healing. And Nalguidan also has double Ogremancer, which is a pain in the butt for Weapon Rogue to deal with because everything they do is spells. It's either a weapon that they're attacking into something or spells. And usually, Ogremancer comes down and Mind Render. Even though Mind Render is not the best, it's usually a super late game card because sometimes when you Mind Render, you stare at a handful of poisons and you're like, why did I do this? But a lot of times the rogue's holding on to bursts like Sinister Strikes and Wicked Stabs, and you can Mind Render sort of out of desperation towards the end of the game when you know that they're holding on to those spells. So
That's great.
Or you can just use it to dump the coin. And he gets a prize plunder as well.
Yeah, okay. The prize plunder is nice to win back that tempo.
He could Secret Passage also.
I'm thinking about that too. I was evaluating, like, is dumping the Secret Passage even more devastating because it shuts off the ability for all the reach to be accessed so easily? Hard to say. Well, either way. Fled not going to be discouraged, going to keep going and seeing if he can find the worst possible dragon. Guessing it's Blackwing since he doesn't really need it. Also the side benefit that he gets the dragon discount and not Nalguidan.
Yeah.
Is it maximum tempo here? Is it like Zyrella?
Probably, because Irella doesn't really have much use. There's not like stealth minions that you need to get through like the weapon rogues of old.
Right. There's not a lot of application for her effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
What knowledge do the stars provide?
Now Nalguidan has board, a good amount of it, and also has Ogremancer to just kind of drive things home. And Fled knows, right? It's not a secret. He saw the hand from Nalguidan. Ogremancer was kept. That card is so difficult to deal with. Yep. You may not even need
really do.
lose.
Yeah, now you just like put taunts in the way. One of the ways that you can actually get past the Ogremancer is just through taunts. So Fled really hopes that the Secret Passage just gets the chorus and then he's done with it. That's a yikes. He concedes! There's just nothing that you can do. Nalguidan's Priest gets a game 2 victory very quick. Nice and dirty and fast. Ogremancer on 5 wins. The Priest is now up. From Fled's perspective here, he has either his own Priest or the Mage to try and counter it. What do you turn to here? The Mage?
There's Priest and Mage left on both sides. Right? So if you counter Priest with Priest and lose, then you have Mage, and then you're going in a Mage mirror matcher. If you play Mage versus Priest and lose, then you have Priest versus Priest anyway. So honestly, I don't think it really matters because they have the exact same decks that are left.
Right.
So there's not any counter queuing that can go on, right? It doesn't matter what matchup he saves for last. I think Mage is the most likely to be able to sweep the last 2 games of the series. So he's going to go with Mage, and maybe he just doesn't want to play a Priest Mirror, right? Because Priest Mirrors can sometimes feel like a toss-up. Because if both players are playing incredibly well, then it can sometimes come down to like what type of, like who's getting the most value out of their cards in the super late stages of the game. I do think that his both players' Priests are both on like the lower. Oh no, never mind. Nalguidan has an advantage in the Priest Mirror because he plays double natural Onyx Mage Scribe, and Fled has double Ogremancer, double Light Shower Elemental.
Yep. 0 Mage Scribes.
Yeah. So maybe he feels like he's at a little bit of a disadvantage, but his Priest is good against Mage. So actually he does want the counter matchup because his Priest is way better against Mage than it is in a Priest Mirror matchup with the way he's built it. So the Mage makes sense to queue first.
Okay. Wants to avoid the Priest Mirror if possible. Get ready to go into it. Fled with the Spell Mage. We've seen Spell Mage do some wonderfully powerful things. Can it do that here in game number 3? Starting off with no card draw, no Enchanter's Flow. Fled asking for the goods to come to the hand. So start off with Draconic Studies. One thing that's interesting about the pick here from Nalguidan is that you get 2 Draconic Studies, so you actually get to cheat out a couple turns faster. And that makes me curious about, whether or not there was a different pick besides the Circus Amalgam. But the curve makes a lot of sense. Oh my goodness, a 3rd one? That means we could be playing things like Skeletal Dragon as soon as turn 4. That's okay. There's no way you would have known that this would happen. Coined Thief. Wow.
Okay.
Fled playing...
Just turboing minion pressure. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. He's playing Tempo Mage. All right. There's one thing that you can always kind of appreciate about Fled, especially as a spectator, is that he does make these decisions quite fast. Sometimes I worry if it's a little too fast. Oh my goodness. Really good minions to consider what he wants to do for the next couple of turns. The Skystalker. Skystalker's a little bit weaker versus Mage because of the threat of devolving missiles. I guess that also applies to the Proto Drake. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually kind of intrigued by the idea of Malagos, because if you end up dumping a lot of your hand, there is this world where Mage is going to outvalue you. Well, not with that. Skeletal Dragon.
Amazing.
More dragons. More random minions.
Always hungry for
Yeah,
more.
random minions that are sticky with high health totals, which is important as well, because every burn spell that goes into a minion is a burn spell that's not going to your face.
Hey.
There's only so many devolving missiles that they can hit to try and deal with a big thing. So, especially with this start from Fled, Nalguidan knows that these minions are going to go quite far. He knows that Fled has a random spell and then 4 minions still left in the hand and nothing discounted.
My blade seeks vengeance.
Wow, okay.
Oh, wow, just dealing with the minion on board as fast as we can.
Wave is dumpable next turn no matter what.
Right. I was thinking about ways we can activate the Onage Mage Scribe in a reliable manner. He does have a Renew in hand, so that does solve that issue, I think.
Yeah.
An incredible discovery.
Arcanologist. No secret to draw. Mindrender Alucia. I mean, this is not really a hand that you can play easily with Mindrender. Now you're not thinking about Serenity?
Yep. I don't think it would ever be Ice Barrier unless the choices from Fled from that Wand Thief were atrocious. He's thinking like which things would he pick from a Wand Thief, right? Because it's not like a Ring Toss where you're only offered secrets. Wand Thief also offers you other spells. I think Netherwind Portal and Counterspell probably the two that are the most likely.
Whoa. Ogremancer's Shadow Word Death.
That's good.
That's nuts.
Hasn't tested for Counterspell yet, though.
True.
Now it's tested for Oasis Ally, so it's down to Counterspell, Netherwind Portal, Rigged, Fair Game.
Right. Because you attacked last turn and got the 1 damage in.
What is a loon's
And if he guesses wrong here, and Ogremancer Shadow Word Death and it's Counterspell, his Ogremancer gets traded off with a ping on the board.
Oh, he's going to get the news that it is Netherwind Portal.
I mean, the Secret did a lot, right? Nalguidan had multiple very powerful plays this turn.
Yeah.
And didn't go for any of them because he was afraid of what the Secret meant for his overall game plan.
Yeah, but he still has a pretty resilient board. Skystalker is just tough to deal with. Vlad picks up Devolving Missiles.
You want it?
Plays another minion. That's like all he's doing. And everything is so expensive. Like all the minions that he's been getting have been super clunky. No encounters flow in sight. Everything just feels bad for Fled right now. Oh, and the Graybow! Oh.
Rainbow.
Oh. And he used Devolving Missiles already, so he can't even get rid of the Graybow Death Rattle as well. This is brutal. This is really brutal.
Yeah.
I wonder.
You need to dump to make hand space as well. And now from Nalguidan's perspective,
Amazing.
it's just the time to drop the Ogremancer, right? Ogremancer just makes it really tough for Flood to deal with. Kind of pressure in with what you got.
I wonder.
Problem would be like, what's the world look like if he just fireballs the Ogremancer? Maybe he just wants to play the Skeletal Dragon instead. Both are viable here, I think, in this spot.
Yeah. Oh, another Koldar Drake. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's a burst of 4 healing in the late game if he needs it. Cool. I honestly don't even know what Flood's supposed to do from here. Everything is just so expensive. He's got a lot of burn in hand, has double fireball, double mask, but Nalguidan's just going to keep playing a high health minion turn after turn. This is not what Spell Mage is supposed to feel like, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no doubt. It's not impossible still to pull himself out from the situation. The 2 secrets I didn't get to see. I think one of them was Mirror Entity, though.
I wonder.
Seeing how the way the dragons are lining up, knowing that it's likely that Nalguidan wants to deal with the board through minions. Tough spot for Nalguidan once more. Might look like Nalguidan's had everything fall into his lap, but it's been anything but easy from his side. He's had some tricky turns
I wonder.
that I feel like is easy to fall apart. He's been rewarded with some good outcomes on his discovers, and obviously the Grey Bow coming through.
What is
Still concerned about like playing into Mirror Entity. You know, what secrets would Flood pick from behind? Mirror Entity is probably one of them. Just anything to have a board, and does get it. Gets an Ogremancer.
Oh, that's bad news for Nalguidan. He was really hoping that wasn't the case.
Yeah, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Flame Strike's still not great against this board. Greybauer respawn still has no way to actually get through to the Ogremancer. And then would have to get through the Grey Bow anyway to get to the Ogremancer, which would then move the Death Rattle over to the Ogremancer, resummoning it another Grey Bow.
Yeah, that really is an issue, huh? If that didn't exist, Flame Strike here is perfectly fine to clear everything up. Without it, pretty nasty.
What to
Yeah, because even if he gets +1 spell damage from this Primordial Studies, he deals 6 damage AoE, be able to trade over one of these minions into the Skeletal Dragon, but then the Greybow would spawn and then have a 4/6 in the way, protecting the Ogremancer once again. So, and then could just be juggled right back. It's a very difficult situation to be in. Oh, jeez, Greybow. You sly goose.
From Nalguidan's perspective, how do you really press in here? Wow, Flood just concedes. Oh my goodness. I was not expecting that at all. You can see Nalguidan's like, okay. I mean, if you want to concede, you totally can. That is an option at your disposal. I was not really expecting Flood to just give up there. He's very far behind. Let's just make one thing clear. It's difficult to come out from that situation. But Flood, I think, more than anybody, did not want to be in that game anymore. He said, get me out. And out he was. This is possibly the turning point where he just mentally gave up that Grey Bow.
If his next draw is like Deck of Lunacy, right? He's got some game left. But you know, maybe saving his mental energy. There's still a game left in the series, right? He goes to his Priest now, and Priest Mirror does take a lot of mental fortitude to get through. It is tough. It is grueling. So we'll see if he can have this one come back in his favor. He's got Nalguidan as mage left if Flood's able to win this, which his list is built with mage in mind, it seems, with double Light Shower Elemental, double Ogremancer. So, you know, it's possible that Flood could make this comeback and come down from a deficit. Maybe that's what he's thinking. He's like, I'm not going to waste my energy trying to come up with some crazy scenario where I win this mage versus priest game from an incredible deficit. Maybe I just focus on trying to win those last 2 games with my own priest.
Yeah, I get it, but at the same time, you know, that's not really what Hearthstone's about. You know, you gotta play your cards out and see, even if there's a small modicum of a chance. A lot of players would probably sit and criticize that and just be like, look, if you have a 1% chance to win at the highest level of competition, you gotta take those. On the other, you know, like you said, TJ, and like we were talking about, he's really far behind. I can totally understand. If it was ladder, like, I wouldn't even blink an eye. I'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, concede, move on. It's about grinding over a volume of games, and time is also an opportunity cost. And here, you know, we're stuck here until the series ends, you know, in the sense that, like, we're not going anywhere. You're not losing out by playing this game versus others. You don't have to, like, finish at a certain time. There's no deadline. There's no end of the season rush. So, you know, I see both sides of it, and I got to say that I think Fled, you know, hopefully in the coming weeks, that doesn't end up being something that he regrets. I'm sure he doesn't, but, you know, it's one of those things where if you think about what you could have done better, that is one thing that you can always do better, staying in the game until the very final moment. So with that said, Priest vs. Priest is coming up, and inevitably it might be one of these really long, drawn-out matches. It also could be something that if Fled feels like he's really far behind, maybe he just concedes right here and then. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen, TJ. Anything might happen in this game number 4.
Priest Mirror is that one matchup where you shouldn't concede, right? Because unless you're dead on board, there's no way out. You're likely to find answers at some point before you get to that stage. You know, sometimes you can just get beat, but premature concedes in this matchup, there's not really many, like, slim outs. You have a lot of different outs in most situations. So we'll see. I would give, like I mentioned earlier, the slight edge to Nalguidan because he just has a more value-oriented priest list. I don't think the Light Shower Elementals are really going to do much in this series, but that's honestly the only difference, or the only, you know, discernible difference. Blood does have a Ysera, which is a lot of value, arguably one of the strongest late-game cards, especially in Priest. And does not have an acidic swamp ooze clogging up some of that early game. So there's still some game here, and it's Priest. Most of their stuff is randomly generated anyway. So who cares what you put in your deck from the get-go, as long as you have some things that can generate value.
True. All right, well, let's have at it. Game number 4. Let's got on the don't care sunglasses, trying to see if he can dial back into the zone here. As he actually steps away, maybe there's a little
He
spill
fled to his bunk bed.
He fled to his bunk bed. That's right. While we try to get Fled into his seat, looks like he's going to play his first turn.
Okay. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure because he wasn't in his chair, the production got scared as to what he would come back with.
Right.
They're just like, turn off his webcam.
Yeah, you don't know if, like, for example, you spilled a bunch of water and, like, it's just not a gratuitous shot. He's, like, turning around or something like that. It's just like, okay. Sometimes it happens, right? Like, I sometimes have that happen. Or, like, my cat, for example, knocks over a bowl of cherries or something. Either way.
He came back with a sign that said, Frodo and TJ are terrible, and production's just trying to look out for us.
True. I would not be surprised to see that either. You never know what to expect. Except to expect the unexpected. Nalguidan pointing out Venomous Scorpion. That's not something that you see all the time. It's not like coin is some really elaborate, valuable resource in this matchup, but it does kind of beg the question of like, what does Nalguidan try to accomplish here? Trying to get ahead of the minion curve? He's trying to tempo because he has a Circus Amalgam and then try to lead to an Ogremancer? If that's the case, I can see it. Trying to see if he can get ahead and supplant the Ogremancer to maybe get a turn 6 victory because Fled hates Ogremancers.
Yeah, you play an Ogremancer on the board against Fled. If it lives 2 turns, he's out of that game.
Yeah.
It's his ultimate weakness.
I get it. You know, Ogremancer is a pretty tilting card to deal with. It just feels like no matter what you do, this card is unkillable and just continues to get worse over time. And then Priest can heal it and buff it. It's just a problematic card for many people to deal with. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Nalguidan has the ability to play the Draconic Studies to prep for, or he can Palm Reading first, but Draconic Studies can prep the Onage Maze Scribe and the next turn Holy Smite. He can Holy Smite again. I think Idol of Yasharaj has been a card that's been very impressive in Priest Mirrors just because it pulls a world of removal, and Fled already has one as well.
Mm-hmm. Still requires a lot to be able to deal with it. It's not drawing a card from your deck, it's just kind of creating a giant minion out of nowhere. Nalguidan could wait for the Holy Smite to be able to have an easy target for Onyx Mage Scribe next turn on 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, unless Fled buffs it. I'm kind of liking a Tempo Nosdormu as well. It's just like the concept of it, just having a high stat minion. It's no different than the Idol of Yasharaj in my mind. The only thing about Onyxia is that Raise Dead becomes a lot weaker. But I guess that was always going to be the case because of Ogremancer.
Yep. Okay, Initiation I think is probably the best card in this bunch. Nalguidan happy to see no buff on the Venomous Scorpion.
Magic is not a toy.
This is one of the defining cards that's going to shape this Priest Mirror, the Onage Maze Scribe, and the lack thereof in Fled's deck, but he does happen to have one. He doesn't have a way to deal with this one, though.
Do not lose these.
Oh, it's just so much value. Ooh. If you just play an Ogremancer here and just build up some board tension. Oof. Initiation's just a little off.
Deal's only 4. I think I like that Ogremancer here. Your opponent just played Onage Maze Scribe. Raise Dead with a couple of minions that you know is in the hand, and those minions give spells. I like it.
What is illusion?
Is it weak to Hysteria? The 3/7 summons a 2/2.
Sort of.
What is illusion?
Oh.
Oh, all right. I wasn't really anticipating playing the Septic Veilweaver.
And this seems pretty weak to Hysteria too.
So the strengths of this is that if your Septic Veilweaver can survive, there's some really powerful resource generation that you can get over Fled and, of course, run away with it. And he also is aware that Fled lacks the tools to deal with it, and the minions that came to the hand don't exactly give him the response. So then Fled's perspective, you can see him kind of going deep in the tank here. How do you respond to this board? Is it Soul Mirror? Soul Mirror doesn't actually give him a way to answer the board very convincingly. It only deals with one Sethic. Hysteria to try to clear up some other things. Oh. Oh.
Oh! What? Are you kidding me?
You don't pick the one.
Okay. If Flood concedes here, I would understand. Because it just means that the game is not meant for him to win today. He is so floored by the results of that hysteria that he couldn't even play out the rest of his turn properly. He just kind of jammed the cards to make sure he was being mana efficient. He did end up finding some decent cards.
That is brutal.
The webcam tells the entire tale of the tape. This is a very, very unfortunate series of events here for Flood.
Like even if it just removed the Divine Shield on one of the Sethics, at least his Onyx Mage Scribe would have lived. That's rough.
Okay, so going back into what we can fix here. Soulmere is still not enough.
Well, you could Soulmere Condemn, and then that would be enough.
Oh, you're right. Condemn is a good draw.
Yeah. So honestly, not terrible.
Not terrible. Nalguidan can kind of do the same thing. I'm kind of wondering if he wants to drop an Ogremancer here, or he's waiting to go for the fabled double Ogremancer. He played 2.
Oh, yeah.
And then Fledge just like, I can't even concede twice this game. I can only concede once.
Maybe it has the opposite effect, though.
It's true. It makes him whine to concede, to whine to drag it out as long as possible.
Yeah.
The alternative to that would be, instead of just like an Ogremancer Condemn here, if he wants to flip one of these minions with the initiation, feels kind of weak to me.
Not you.
Yeah, just play the Ogremancer.
Flood starts off with
reading.
the Venomous Scorpid. Yep. The strongest card individually is Palm Reading because of the amount of discount that you can get. And from Nalguidan's side, how do you deal with this board? He has initiation again to deal with the poison. That's something that we talked about. New to start things off. Maybe get a spell that can change things.
Ooh. Gift of Luminance again.
I'm kind of thinking about Focused Will. Kind of takes the sting out of the Scorpid.
Yeah, that's true. Doesn't have an initiation target, but it's also a targeted spell, so he'd get to cash in again on the Sethic. That's the one. Oh, never mind. That's the random one. I was like, wait, did he pick Power Infusion? Because I'm pretty sure he's offered it. Just keep going. Shadow Form. Meh. You just make this Ogremancer massive.
And massive it is. Back over to Fled. Fled has Apotheosis off the top. No way to remove the Ogremancer cleanly right now, it seems like. So he has to Palm Reading to find something. Maybe a Shadow Word Ruin. Maybe Palm Reading again. Oh, Psyche Split. Okay.
Just trying to build up a big board.
I mean, you talk about board tension. Kale Thoss, how many spells has he played? He's played 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he doesn't have enough mana. Because Kale Thoss, of course, makes your next or third spell cost 1, not 0.
Yeah. Also, he had already used enough spells. It had reset the counter, so wouldn't have been usable anyway.
So I'm thinking about Shadow Word Death and Holy Nova as my first instinct here. Would be a board clear. Can we do better than that? Holy Nova Shadow Form, Shadow Word Death.
I wonder.
That seems good. I also wouldn't put it past Nalguidan to think if he can find a way to get initiation value in a very strong way too here. So you could like Shadow Word Death, initiation, trade, not even have to Holy Nova. I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot actually.
Yeah, get a skeletal dragon.
Right. I'm open to that. Seems like he's just going to favor a good, clean series of trades and take it very slow. I think he is worried about making his hand a little bit too light.
Yeah. Alright, when can we make some use out of these double sleepy dragons? That's an Idol of Yashraj in the far left, and then Initiation right next to it. Thriving in the Shadows is not really something you want to be playing unless you're in a desperate situation, because oftentimes this matchup does go to fatigue, and the Thriving Shadows does pull a card out of your deck, so puts you further behind.
I wonder.
Could opt to go for palm reading again. I don't know what he would be looking for in this situation, and you have to think every single time you play a spell like, all right, well, how much in the hole am I getting with this Ogremancer? Do I really need to do it? Can I just play a minion and try and, you know, build some tension onto the board? Wow, he's going for the Thrive.
Unable to find it. Sleepy Dragon. Get stuff in the way.
Okay. Open with a Raised Dead.
So he can deal with this board pretty easily, just with what he has available. How much can he make this really sting, though? He could summon a Sleepy Dragon on his side with the Initiation and the Septic Veilweaver. So you play Septic Veilweaver, the Sleepy Dragon down to 4 life, Initiation.
What is Elun's will?
And that's a 4/12 on your side. That's really powerful.
Yeah, but I don't know what to believe anymore. I thought having the Skeletal Dragon last turn was good enough.
He's clearly trying to play around something. I think what he's trying to play around is
Hysteria.
Hysteria and like a potential Soul Mirror of some kind. Not really. I'm reading once more. Still no way to kill off the Ogremancer.
And Nalguidan's realizing that, saying, all right, well, if you can't kill it, I'm just going to keep healing it up and buffing it up. Wave of Apathy. That doesn't kill it. Wave Master Samuro?
Summon, not you.
Oh.
Ooh. 2 can play this game.
Yeah, at this point, what's done is done. Commit to the full board. Ogremancer's already summoned a bunch of 2/2s. Well, that's not exactly an easy card to deal with. Man, Priest Mirrors are weird.
Yeah.
All right,
I wonder if he wants to do anything here. He can Apotheosis and then always just hero power down the token that spawns from the Ogremancer.
Right.
Then just keep it at that, I guess. Push the 9.
It's not irrelevant forms of damage, even if it's just one attack from each minion. Now I'm thinking if there's any value preemptively trading. Fled has the Apotheosis though, ready to go. Still no way to deal with the Ogremancer. The good thing about his Apotheosis is that he'll heal back to full life. What's really funny is that their hands are quite similar. So if Fled or Nalguidan end up going for a Mindrender or Lucia, they'd basically just be getting the same cards right back.
Oh my gosh. And neither of them have ways to deal with the Ogremancer on the other side.
Well, Nalguidan does in the form of just attrition, right? Like all of these damage sources will make it problematic for him to deal with. He's going for it. Mindrender, and then what are you going to get? An Ogremancer, an unplayable dragon, initiation. It's the same hand. Well, he could like play the Scorpion, for example.
Not too quickly.
You don't pick the one. See?
Okay, renew.
Dump his card.
Oh, he's trying to dump all the ways for Nalguidan to really find a way to punish him. Let's count damage. 11 plus the 10, so that's 21. Hero power is 23.
It's 25 with Nightmare
What is it?
instead of the hero power. So not quite there. And
But if it's just Ysera and then
Ogremancer.
sap the Ogremancer.
That seems good enough to me, honestly. Just get it out of the way. He knows the hand now from Fled.
Right. I mean, he's staring at it right now.
He does give him the dream cards, though. The rest of them. You can cash in on a Nightmare, too.
I wonder.
Magic is not a toy.
Yeah.
Oh, no. He's going to dump some of the higher value cards. Okay.
He's making it difficult for Fled to get anything done. Fled's looking for some removal. Light Shower Elemental, yikes. That card doesn't do anything. Ysera time?
Time may pass, but the dream is eternal.
Can dream back the Ogremancer. Knows that Nalguidan lacks the removal tools, but that's where the Onyx Mage Scribe kicks in. Also, Renew goes back to the other side.
Is it going back to Nalguidan last turn? Is it better to try and keep your Ogremancer and play the Ysera and dream back Flood's Ogremancer instead of going Sethic Ogremancer or Sethic
I thought
Onyx
so.
Mage Scribe?
No, this is just better. TJ, this is just better. Just,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
way
just-
better. Oh, you got another one.
You're better. Okay, so Shadow or Death. He has the hero power to get past the 2/2 taunt. That gives him 5 more mana to play with. Gonna play the Venomous Scorpion. Hysteria, just good removal tools. Vlad, of course, chuckling, recognizing that that was a card he was looking for the entire time.
Okay. And this plays around Ysera Awakens to an extent, right? Either the Onyx Mage Scribe or the Sethic will live.
Well, sort of. He knows about the
he saw the initiation too. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Oh?
Okay.
Tempo Hysteria?
Lose these.
Yeah, lets him push damage. Also is really the only spell that's dumpable without killing off his own minions. So Fled is a little bit behind in fatigue because of the Thrive in the Shadows. So he needs to start putting together some type of tempo plan, because just being 2 cards behind is actually quite significant. His fatigue damage will start to ramp up incredibly quickly.
Well, Nalguidan has a full hand full of value. Can Hysteria to deal 8 damage to the Ysera. Condemn and Hero Power can clean everything up as well. Oh, actually, can he just initiation at the end? He can. Just get the Ysera for himself. Very nice. Ysera being tossed back and forth. Minor into Lucia. Initiation. Sleepy Dragon. Just a full-on dragon battle here. 412s galore.
The path is
Oh yeah, the Light Shower Elemental.
Yeah, does play pretty well into AoE like Condemn, though.
Well, we can start with Onyx Mage Scribe, Shadow or Death.
It's true. Knows about the Emerald Drake, but 6/6 is pretty much just as effective as a 7/6, so just get the immediate kill.
And the
Other
Condemn works a
alternative
little
is-
awkwardly with how the Light Shower Elemental works, because if you Condemn and then trade over, it'll heal the Laughing Sister, so it's not super clean.
That's fair. Ogremancer.
not you.
Wow, he's just he knows that it's not about him like dominating the board. It's about him forcing Fled to spend more resources. Because Nalguidan knows that he wins in fatigue because he has high value cards still left in his hand. He's multiple cards ahead in the deck.
Yeah. Fled has no
So
answer
he's just-
to this still.
Yeah, and Nalguidan's kind of saying, "I'll just play the minimum amount of stuff that I can every turn, and eventually I'm just going to muscle you out."
Yeah, the hero power is just going to also collect a full card of value over a few turns, right? Like when it starts just killing things naturally, that totals a card, but he spent it for free. I know Yasharaj finds a Sethic Veil Weaver. Focused Will. Finally giving an opportunity to answer some of these minions. Dealing with the Scorpid, but this plays into the Shadow or Death number 2. Nalguidan can go
But
for the
is it
Mage Guard.
necessary?
Yeah, that's a good point. Gotta think about that first.
He go Condemn, Hero Power. It doesn't work.
I wonder.
Then Hero Power, to have to trade in multiple minions to get there. He's shown that he's willing to spend like as little resources as possible. So I'm trying to think of how to do this turn with as little resources as possible. But this is as juicy as a Shadow or Death target as you're ever going to get.
Yeah, it's the biggest minion that Flood's played so far, on top of the Ogremancer.
Lose these.
So the double trade. And then I guess hero power. Based
Sure.
off the way Nalguidan has been playing it, he's been trying to squeeze out that hero power value over time. No need for him to play Wand Maker.
Mage Scribe. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there's also still just a macro problem from Fled. It's still lacking removal, still lacking ways to deal with this board. Even if it's just like the value battle, right? he would lose there. He's very far behind the tempo battle. There's 12 damage being represented. This is a 3-turn lethal setup for Nalguidan. I'm not really seeing a way for Flood to get out of this easily. There's still the Ogremancer churning out the 2/2 value. He did not hit his Blademaster Samuro at all, and he would have to wait for that next turn. So what he could do is play Light Shower Elemental, for example. Chill. Oh. Flood's giving up, I think. I think he's done all the calculations. He's showing his hand.
Yep.
Playing all the cards, saying, this is what I'm holding, but you got me.
Nalguidan, the slight confusion is like, wait, what are you doing? He thinks something fancy is coming. Nope, nothing fancy's coming.
But he recognizes it. He's like, here, just kill me. That's going to do it. Game number 4 over to Nalguidan. Winning the Priest Mirror. 3-game sweep with the Control Priest. And goes to another top 4. Well done. Looking at Argentina's most consistent player throughout the years and makes it to another top 4. Put himself in a pretty good position, actually. If he can go even further to put himself very close to the top of the standings. Came to this week with 12 points, with Rami at 13, Luna and Eddie at 14, and No Hands at 15. Not many people stand between him and the number 1 spot. Quick recap. I mean, the moment that potentially has swung things back into Nalguidan's favor dramatically. That hysteria. Nalguidan couldn't even believe his luck. He's just like, unreal. Yeah. That's hilarious. And what's funny is that it feels like Nalguidan's been on the receiving end of that kind of stuff in previous seasons. So if anybody can relate to it, it's Nalguidan.
Yeah, it must be nice for him to actually be on this end of it for once in 4 seasons of GM. But yeah, Nalguidan now will be guaranteed at least 15 points at the end of the week. Which means that at the very worst, he's tied for second. And if he wins in the semifinal tomorrow, then he'll be outright second. There's no way for him to catch No Hands. No Hands has a guaranteed 18 now, which means that No Hands, no matter what the outcome is tomorrow, No Hands will still be in first place at the end of the week.